Hello, welcome to this mid-afternoon taste challenge. I had forgotten to do this one. I'm sorry, I apologize. But this is Alberta Premium. And this was introduced in 1960, and it comes from a company called Alberta Distillers Limited. They are from a long time ago, not 1960, but like 1880 or something like that. Back when Canada was just a little baby. Okay, there's the maple leaf for Canada. There's 2 sprigs of grain for the rye. It's 100% rye. It's the only rye whiskey I've done so far that is 100% rye. There's no wheat, there's no barley malt, there's no corn. It's all rye whiskey. Canadian blended rye whiskey. What does that mean, blended? Well, they've taken different rye whiskeys of various ages and they're blending them together. But the age statement is 5 years. Doesn't say it on the bottle, but I was just on the Alberta Distillers website and it says Alberta Premium is aged a minimum of 5 years. So consequently, it's a 5-year whiskey. It's got this molded glass, a pretty bottle. It runs about $24.99 in Louisiana, but I found it for $14.99. And you know, for $14.99, I was buying that product too sweet very quickly. Alberta Premium is an authentic 100% rye whiskey that is made the traditional way from the finest, reading this in the dark, basically, Canadian prairie rye grain and glacier-born Rocky Mountain water. It's a low proof, relatively low proof, only coming in at 80 proof, it says on the bottle, 40% alcohol, 80 proof. It's from Alberta, named at one of the Canadian provinces, named after Princess Alberta, daughter of Queen of Canada, the first queen in Canada. When Canada was created in 1867, she was the queen, Victoria. And they've had other monarchs since. Her son, Edward VII, he was the second king in Canada. George V was the third king in Canada. Edward VIII for a little while, like a few weeks, basically. The fourth king in Canada. George VI, the fifth king in Canada. Elizabeth II, the sixth monarch of Canada. And she was the first one described as the Queen of Canada, not the Queen in Canada, Queen of Canada. Because, the year she became queen was the year Canada got its first Canadian-born Governor General, her representative. They were always British before that. And then, of course, Charles III, the seventh king of Canada, or king in Canada, depending. So that's coming from the Dominion of Canada. Okay, this is coming from the Empire of Indiana. Well, no, it's not an empire yet. The state of Indiana. And I had been to Indiana, and I had been to the caverns in Indiana. Yes, they have caverns, and I went down, down, down. And this was introduced in 2011. It's 95% rye, 5% malted barley. But this is coming in at a hefty 90 proof, 45% alcohol. No age statement. We know it's aged at least 4 years by virtue of United States of America law. And it's straight rye, which means what? It has to be aged at least 2 years in new charred oak barrels. And it cannot have coloring or flavoring added. Now, Canadian rye is a blended whiskey, so it is allowed to have coloring and flavoring added. Now, whether it does, I don't know. I just know it's allowed. The Wheat Greatness says hello. Hello to you. Mark Lockwood says, hey, watching from Derbyshire, England. It's 8:30 p.m. and drinking Guinness Original. Smiley face. That's at 4.2%, right? 4.2. Put a little liquid on this cork so it doesn't dry rot. And yes, corks will dry rot. I've had 2 bad experiences already with that. So we got an American state, Indiana, versus a Canadian province, Alberta. Indiana has a governor. Alberta has a lieutenant governor. Actually, in Canada, their provinces have lieutenant governors, not governors. In the United States, a lieutenant governor is the assistant governor, like a vice president, you know. No, I mean, different setup. The lieutenant governor is sort of like the second in command to the governor general. The king appoints the governor general for the whole country, and the lieutenant governor is for each province, appointed by the king, the royal representative. You know what I mean? And then they elect a premier, who is like the manager, you know, running the day-to-day operations. Sort of like a grocery store. You got the owner, but he's busy. He's in the office. He's playing golf. He's going to charity events. So the manager runs the operation. And if he does a good job, he keeps his job. Or if he does like Boris Johnson, they get a different manager. All right. Okay. The Wheat Greatness says Canada has premiers. That's right. That's what I was saying. Does Canada now have the king on their money? William Grimes says. I don't know if they got it ready yet. So the appearance on these is amber. Not much difference in appearance. So you basically the same appearance. Yeah, I was saying that they have lieutenant governors for each province, and then they have a premier who runs the day-to-day operation. I said it was like a store manager. The premier is like the manager. He runs the business. And if he does a good job, he stays as the manager. If he does a bad job, he doesn't stay as the manager. So like Boris Johnson, he's the Prime Minister of England. Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. Oh, I mean, was the prime, not is, was. And they had a lady that lasted, what, a month? She was the prime minister for a month? But the queen was the queen for 71, 70 years. I said 71, 70 years. She was trying to beat out Louis XIV, who was the king for 72 years. But his advantage was he started when he was 5. He was the king of France since he was 5 years old. And then he stayed till he died when he was 77. She started when she was 25. 26. So, I mean, you know, you can only go so long unless you're Joe Biden. And then you all right, anyway, back to the whiskey. Just kidding around in all seriousness. Man, it's been too long since I went to Canada. I hadn't been to Canada in doggone 19 years. When I went to see the Toronto Blue Jays, has it been that long? Seemed like it's been just a little while. I went on a tour of the Rogers Center. Really nice. They took us all around there, took us into the control room, showed us how they got the roof to open and close. They push a button called open and close. Then they, it was really nice, you know. And then I went to the game, 2 games, went to 2 games. And they opened and closed the roof while I was in there. Did it just for me? No, I made that up. But anyway, got to watch people play cricket over there by the Travelodge Hotel in Toronto. It was an interesting game. Didn't know what was happening though. Couldn't understand it. Just watching them. But something about a ball, and they had a bat, flat bat. But they were very interested in what they were doing. I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I could see that they pitched the ball overhand though. You know, like same thing here, but not at that high rate of speed. Well, maybe it was pretty fast. It just didn't. Oh, I spilled it. Okay. Same thing happened when I went to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas in 2001. We were watching, we were standing up on this hill and we were looking down in this field and they were playing cricket. Couldn't make heads or tail. I couldn't understand what they were doing. But, I mean, I knew there was a goal to it. Tried to more points than the opponent. But I guess if a cricket fan from England or Canada or the Bahamas came to the United States and they watched baseball, they might say the same thing. Oh, what is going on? This makes no sense. But maybe they could catch on to it. Not too much difference. Not too much difference. Okay, I think I know which is which, though. Enough of that. There is a difference. Initially, no, but then subsequently, yes. There's a certain kind of twang to it, which is hard to describe. But this one has a strong bounty, like a strong bouquet. That's what they call it, not a bounty. A bouquet of like rye. Now, remember, they close 95% rye, 100% rye. But then the difference is 90 proof, 80 proof, 45% alcohol, 40% alcohol. I think that makes a difference. No age statement. So we know this one is at least 4 years. We know this one is certainly at least 5 years. So the Alberta Premium might be aged a little longer, but it's probably close. All right. So introduced in 1960, introduced only 12 years ago, 2011. Okay. Taste, cheers. Yep. That's the Alberta Premium, all right. And I'm going to tell you why I know that. It's very smooth and it's very you can't say drinkable because who in the world is going to sit here and just drink whiskey like that? You say, I have an uncle. Well, it just goes down easy, but you wouldn't want to drink a bunch of whiskey. But it's mellow. It's mild and mellow. If you want to say it's bland or drab, okay, you could say that. I think a better description might be demure. Certainly very pleasant. I'm not regretting buying it. I only paid $14.99. The normal price is $24.99. I like it. I mean, I like it. That's actually cost $2 more than the Bulleit. If I go to Total Wine right now and I buy the Alberta Premium, it's going to cost me $2 more. But I don't think it's as good. Now you might say you're from the United States, so common sense, you're going to choose the American product over the Canadian. No, that's not true. I don't play that kind of game. If it was from Kampuchea or Brunei Darussalam, I'll say the same thing. Whoever's better wins. I don't play favorites. I would like to play favorites because you want your home state to win all the time, but I don't do it. I don't do it. I don't do it. Oh, this one has a much sharper flavor. It's fuller body. It's clearly higher proof. You can just taste that 45% alcohol versus 40%. I'm telling you, you could taste it. Maybe you can't necessarily taste it, but you can feel it. It's a feeling. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west. No, I mean, and so you can perceive it. It's obvious. There's more excitement to it. There's more elaboration. Oh yeah, I was talking about Alberta. Yeah, she was a princess, daughter of Queen Victoria. I don't know who she married. I know that Queen Victoria's grandson, William, was the Kaiser of the Second Reich, the German Reich, the German Empire. He was the King of Prussia. He was the King of Prussia, Wilhelm, or William, as we say in English, Wilhelm II. And he was also the German Emperor. And his grandmother was Queen Victoria. That's a true story. Okay. And Queen Victoria's husband was Albert in English, but I mean, actually, he was from Germany, one of the German states of the German Confederation. His name was Albrecht. Albrecht. But, in our language, English, he's Albert, and his daughter was Alberta. What is that in German? Albrechta? Is there a German equivalent of Alberta? It must be, right? Okay. Would I try a rye whiskey from Germany? I would. Would I try any type of whiskey from Germany? Yes. Have I ever gotten a whiskey from Germany? No. Do I know where to find a whiskey from Germany? No. Can I find other liquor products from Germany? Yes. Like Rumpel Mints. Yes, I can very easily find Rumpel Mints, but I'm scared to buy that. That's 100 proof. That's 50% alcohol. And that's a schnapps. And that is a scary product. But it's famous. Maybe it's infamous. Rumpel Mints. That's been around for a long time, boy. Do we get any other liquors from Germany? That's a good question. I know we get the Rumpel Mints, but I don't know about the other ones. Can't think of any. Well, long answer short, I do like this Bulleit Rye. I would highly recommend it for $22.79. You can't go wrong. Or in my case, I got it for $10. You really can't go wrong, but I use my connections. You say, what are your connections? Oh, well, I know it sounds dramatic. I actually, my connection is just going to Walmart early in the morning and looking for those sales tags. It's my connection. But I did do it, and I found it for $10. So who in the world wouldn't buy it for $10? I mean, would you buy this for $10? You know you would. This is not a half-size bottle. This is a full-size bottle. It's unbelievable, people. I paid $14.99 for this, and the regular price is $24.99. These are not expensive whiskeys. I am not making any pretense to that effect. But still, the price I paid $34.99 for two full-size bottles of rye whiskey. And they're delightful, really. But unfortunately, Alberta Premium cannot quite compete. Doesn't quite match up. Now, John Anille, the legendary John Anille from Georgia, formerly at least, Says, cheers, Ron. Listening in as I drive home. I really enjoy Bulleit bourbon and rye. I never had the bourbon, honestly, the orange label, but of course I like to try it. It is one of the most common whiskeys used for an old fashioned, especially at local bars near me. Oh, really? Bulleit Rye? What is the most common rye whiskey used for old fashions in Louisiana? Probably Sazerac rye, since it's $18.99 a bottle over here. Switching it around like mouthwash. I think Alberta Premium has many, many, many good qualities. It has wonderful grain flavor. It's like when I just switched it around like mouthwash and I slowly swallowed it. It's almost like you could taste each different whiskey they're blended into it. It's like, oh, there's that northern Alberta. Oh, there's that central Alberta. Oh, and there's that southern Alberta. It's a fantasy, but I mean, it almost tastes like that. Is this a product thrown together? Well, a fool might believe that, but a person who uses their brain correctly would never believe that. This is a quality product. It's fabulous. It's been on the market for over 60 years. It's 100% rye. Okay, it's 80 proof. Well, there's a reason they make it for that. Some people at that level, some people prefer the 80 proof. I'm one of those people, actually. I'd rather drink 80 proof whiskey than a 90, but what I have right now is mostly 90s. So it's a lovely product, and I would highly recommend it, or at least recommend it. I don't know about highly, but I would recommend it. But the Bulleit is, to me, a better product. It's just more excitement. There's more excitement. There's more action. There's more body. There's more ABV. And I'm not saying that every time something's more ABV, it's better. That's definitely not the case. But there's just more overall excitement with it. And more menthol, more of that mentholated thing, and mint. And am I saying it's like significantly better than the Alberta Rye? No, I don't think it's significantly better. It's different. It's in a way, it's almost like there's two different styles here, and I know it's not two different styles. It just seems like it. It's confusing in a sense, but yeah. But I am going to throw my vote over to the. I don't mean throw my vote like it's corrupted. The way I feel, I'm going to give my vote to the Bulleit Rye. You see the Bulleit Rye back there in the background, and there's the Alberta Premium right next door. So yeah, I'm going to give my vote to the Bulleit Rye. It's a little bit better, plus it's $2 cheaper. It's a wonderful product, and I've been watching videos for it, and everybody says the same thing. Oh, it's so good. Like I watch one video after the other, and it's the same video repeated. They say, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Now, Alberta Premium videos, I watch them. There aren't many around, but they exist. And they're kind of like my attitude. They like it. They're favorable towards it, but they don't exactly adore it. So, but anyway, that's the way it shakes out. And now that rye has been retired for the next few months, maybe in January or February next year, we'll get back to it. But right now, coming up next week, or maybe even earlier, later this week, but definitely next week, God willing, we're going to do bourbon whiskey. And I have an exciting bourbon whiskey coming up. I'm telling you, this thing is good. I know it's been around since 1936, but that's only the name that's been around. They've made all kind of different bourbons since 1936. This particular blend has actually only been around about a year. But I was a little confused about that. But the brand name has been trademarked since 1936. So that's important. and their distillery is up and running. And so it's been rebuilt. So you should be getting products from their distillery, maybe as I speak, hitting the shelves. But the one I got was produced for them. A contract produced product. But if anybody wants to see what bourbon's coming up for this next 2 weeks, let me know now, or forever hold your sausage. But let me know now, because I've got a very exciting 86 proof, no age statement, straight bourbon whiskey sour mash, and it's a double mash bill. It's got 2 different mash bills blended together. How you like that? And it is so great. And I got it for a price that is so unbelievable, but it's the truth. And so I'll count it down to 0. If you let me know before I count down to 0, I'll show you. If not, I'll just say adios. And Johnny Neely caught me. He's one of my moderators. He could override me. Well, he can't actually override me, but I'm saying that for propaganda reasons. But let's see, Ron. Okay, here we go. Johnny Neely, Georgia Beer Reviews, now in Massachusetts, but thank you, Blue Moon, for this shirt. But here we go. Here it comes. Get ready to be shocked. But please don't be jealous, because I don't control the prices of these products. But when I see them, I act upon them. This is the truth. Oh, man. This is Davies County. It'll focus in a minute. Davies County, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Now remember, it's straight bourbon, so it's aged at least 2 years in new charred. There it is. It's focusing. 96 proof. 96. I think it's 86. Oh, my goodness, it's 96. No, William, it wasn't 69 cents. It was $14.99. Now the regular price is significantly higher. Let me repeat, significantly higher. But I found it for $14.99, and I'm not kidding about that. I thought this was 86 proof. Oh no, it's 96 proof. Oh, things about to get crazy, Ron. Yeah. No wonder my friend David was so gaga over it, because he has a tendency to enjoy higher proof products. Let's use that point of reference. Look at this amazing. This is the blue label. And if it focuses, I'll be a happy guy. It's a no age statement, which means it's aged at least 4 years. That's the law in the United States. It's got to be aged at least 4 years. Now, it's straight bourbon, but it's a blend of straight bourbon. And I'll explain that to you. Come on, focus. I beg you to focus. See, when you beg, you'll get your way. So it focused. Let me explain this. This product is 2 mash bills. It's a high rye mash bill and a wheated bourbon mash bill. So they take wheated bourbon over here, high wheat volume, and over here they got a high rye volume. They distill that and let it age. Then they distill that over there and let that age. They're aging separately in different barrels, got no relationship one to another. Then they take those 2 products and blend them together. Now, I would assume they add water and bring it down to 96 proof, common practice. Then they bottle it and sell it. And they say that makes it really delightful. And I'm going to tell you what, they're not propagandizing in any kind of deceitful way. This stuff is fabulous. It's sour mash bourbon. So the wheated and the high rye sour mash. This is from Lux Road Distillers, or I should say it's produced for Lux Road Distillers. A unique combination of 2 bourbon whiskeys, a smooth wheated and a traditional rye, meaning high rye, if you look at the website, balance, sweetness, and spice. And my friend David was floored, and he's very picky. I mean, you never met anybody who tries 100 whiskeys and hates 96 of them. Like every 100 whiskeys he tries, he hates 96 of them. So if he says this is good, you know it's good because he's like screwball about it in a way, like fanatical about it. But distilled and aged in Kentucky, bottled for Lux Road Distillers, Bardstown, Kentucky. Bardstown. Well, now, who's got distilleries in Bardstown, Kentucky? Well, you've got Sazerac owns this Barton 1792 distillery, and you've got Heaven Hill who owns their own distillery. So it could be one of those two. Could be one of those two. Might be both. The rye might be coming from Heaven Hill. The wheated might be coming from Barton 1792. Because remember, Barton 1792 makes the very famous Weller. And what is Weller famous for? Being a wheated bourbon. So it could be the case that they're contracting with both, blending them over at Heaven Hill, bottling it at Heaven Hill, or vice versa, and selling it to Lux Road. But I mean, you might buy a new bottle and tell me, oh, mine doesn't say that. Mine says bottled by Lux Road. I know the new bottles could be bottled by Lux Road, but this is great. It's unreal, and I think if you try this, you're going to love it. And I think it's going to destroy every other bourbon I have. I really believe that. I think this 90 proof heavyweight is going to wipe out every other bourbon I own. But there's only one way to find out. And you know what that is. That's to do the taste challenges. And I intend to do that. So then we'll be on to American blended whiskey, which I have. I have a pretty interesting one coming up. A lot more interesting than you may at first believe. John and Nilly and I did a duo review of one of the versions of it, but not exactly the same one I have. But I think it's going to be a really fascinating thing. But that might be in later September, really. But all right. Well, thanks for watching. It's been a fantastic series, the rye whiskeys. Bulleit Rye didn't exactly annihilate the competition, but it certainly did not get defeated particularly bad. So I would say that didn't get defeated very often either. So I would say that the Bulleit is right up there. It's not the best rye I've got, but it's definitely right up there in the upper level mix. So it's one to track down for sure. And you don't have to track it down because most stores sell it. There you go. The wheat greatness says rye. That's right, rye. We are talking about rye. All right, y'all take care now and see you very soon. A couple of days for the bourbon taste challenges, and tomorrow afternoon, evening, depending where you live, afternoon, evening, for Fandango Friday. And I have a very, very fascinating blended bourbon, apple extract and spice product. I'm thinking they're using blended bourbon, a blend of bourbons. They say on the website, a blend of bourbons, apple, and I think spices also, yes. Y'all take care now. Bye-bye.